This is the mall.
We could go down to St James and get a stop for that. There is a bunch of palace signs. It's a bit worried.
It's a bit busy here this morning.
Well, they might not have quite gone if you go run down this park. Look out, Tom. Oh, I know they're doing stuff here. Don't get me wrong. No, I know.
No, about 4 minutes. Oh yeah, because mind you, I'm looking at the time, the actual clock. Yeah, he wouldn't. Was he? How far? Sorry. Well, Archie.
Looks like they've commandeered the whole park basically. It's going to be a... well, let's see what we've got. I'm coughing like crazy here, my throat's gone dry. And the support thing has changed its characteristic. It's supposed to turn the camera when I turn, but it's not. It's keeping it pointing in the same direction. So anyway, there's the palace between the trees. I'm having to turn the camera using the controls.
The rest of the bank holiday.
It's weird, this support thing. I should probably get an expensive one when I'm rich. This is the Canada Memorial. commemorating 1 million Canadian and Newfoundland people who fought in the wars. This rose on the ground, or compass, points towards Halifax, where most of them set out from. And there are sort of metal leaves in there. I guess representing the 100,000 who were killed. I mean, there's leaves there anyway, but the ones in the statue, in the sculpture, are deliberate. And you can see the parents are not teaching their children to respect the statue, or the dead, or all that. Anyway. Well, where can I go? Because it's full of pesky people, isn't it?
Can we go to Wellington Arch?
Be tempted to do this again on a quiet day. What do you think? It's unusual to get a very quiet day. Probably early Sunday morning would be best in London, probably. You also got to pick the weather, though. Well, I think I'll go this way. Slightly less crowded. I don't know if these people are determined to be in the way here or not. Maybe not.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, it's not for sure, isn't it? Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if you take the corners really tight, or you may take like the middle line, or yeah, or do you know what it is?
Most of the trees here are London plane trees, like the big ones in front on the left. Nobody knows for sure quite how long they live because they're a hybrid. Don't know what between. but estimates are 250 to 350 years. So these are probably getting on for 200 years old at the moment. It's been calculated that each one saves London about £50,000 a year because of the amenities it provides. They block ultraviolet lights, there's less cost on skin cancer. They absorb pollutants, quite a lot of them, carbon dioxide as well. They soak up water, so less drainage is needed. They reduce stress for people wandering around under them. It's also cooler under the trees than it would be under a canopy, because the trees convert some of the energy into tree instead of absorbing it and re-radiating it. Which is what a normal canopy would do. You might notice they don't cut the grass in various regions of the park. It gives place for wildlife to live. It allows the grass to reseed as well for future years. The road to the right is Piccadilly, so it goes up to Piccadilly Circus, and here we are at Hyde Park Corner almost, but crikey, time to stop and start the camera again. Hold on. Wonder how the battery's doing. Seems to go pretty well. On the left here, this is a deliberately seeded wildflower meadow. They have one in every county, and this is London's, to preserve native species. So we've got oxeye daisy and buttercups and thistles by the looks of it, and various types of grass. Of course, one meadow doesn't seem like much for an entire county, but I guess it's a bit better than Zero Meadow. Now this is a memorial to Bomber Command, and it claims all the people killed in that conflict. Strike hard, strike sure. So yeah.
Three, 4 times. He just kept stopping and they went flying past me.
The fighters are our salvation, but the bombers alone provide the means of victory. Winston Churchill, September 1940. This memorial is dedicated to the 55,573 airmen from United Kingdom, British Commonwealth and Allied nations who served in RAF Bomber Command and lost their lives over the course of the Second World War. On the back it says this memorial also commemorates those of all nations who lost their lives in the bombing of 1939 to 1945. And there's a wreath down there. Per ardua ad astra. I've forgotten what the first part is. It's something like by effort to the stars or something like that. But I'm not sure. If you look across the road here, behind the memorial, you'll see Apsley House, which is number 1 London. And Hyde Park is just behind it. And I've done a video of the number 139 bus which comes down, where those buses are coming out. Apsley House is the Wellington Museum, because we have the Wellington Arch just here. We might as well go and have a look at it since I'm here. But before we go there, let's just look down here.
Maybe, well, he said because he's got his back. It's Meadow again.
fly on my glasses. Right. Plenty of buttercups. This corner. Or something like them, I don't know. There's also lots of plants that look like dandelions, but they're not. Like those in the middle there. A dandelion doesn't have split stalks with multiple heads on one. A dandelion's leaves are all at the base. There's about 60 to 90, depending on how you count them, dandelion-like species in the country. And that's one of them. See if the camera can follow me. No, it can't. I'm having to do all this by hand. Well, by button, anyway. This is another memorial. 1914 to 1918, Mesopotamia, Persia, China, Syria, Palestine, South Arabia. Over there we have India, Burma, Malaya, Singapore, Persia, Hong Kong, Dutch East Indies for the 39-45 campaigns. Here we have a memorial to the Victoria Cross winners, if we can see it. I don't know if we'll be able to see it very well, but up there they're all named for 39-45. Basically this is what it says on the column there. In memory of the 5 million volunteers from the Indian subcontinent, Africa and the Caribbean who fought with Britain in the 2 world wars. So you've got India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And down here we have Nepal, Africa and the Caribbean. Now, can I get across to the Wellington Arch? I guess I can. There's a crossing here. You do not want to cross against the lights on this road. It's absolute mayhem. Right. These columns represent artillery. I believe. One has New Zealand on it, one has, yeah, several have. And there are poppies. Hard to see, obviously, with this black against black. We have Spitfires and stuff on this one. A mermaid on that, if you can see it. I don't know if you can. The Treaty of Waitangi, 1840. Pardon me. Oh, looks like it's all New Zealandy stuff, actually. Antipodes, yeah. Oh, camera's going crazy. Come on, device. So it's just changed its characteristics suddenly and at random, so... Anyway, Antipodes, there we go. So maybe it's not artillery at all, it just looks like it though to me. I think it needs re-levelling, this gadget. Am I right? I don't know. Apsley House in the background. Just see if I level it now, let's see what happens. Okay. Slightly. I'll point it upwards a bit more. And this one is erected to commemorate the glorious heroes of the Machine Gun Corps who fell in the Great War, 1418. Doesn't show up on the camera, but these statues are huge, or that one is anyway. On the left there, we have the statues for 1769 to 1852. Well, that looks like artillery over there. We can see this one here on its from another angle. Oh, time to do the camera again, crikey. This is Wellington anyway. Yeah, there we go. Looks like it is time to do the camera again. Well, in 5 minutes time, I don't know why it's off, but there you go. This pathway, by the way, that I'm on, the stone pathway here, is used by the horses who come from the barracks in Hyde Park. They go down Constitution Hill, where that 5 million people memorial was, to Buckingham Palace, which is at the bottom of the hill. In proud remembrance of the 49,076 of all ranks of the Royal Regiment of Artillery who gave their lives for King and Country in the Great War, 1914 to 1919. Mesopotamia, Dardanelles, Macedonia, Arabia, Russia, Palestine, Central Asia, Persia, Africa. Here was a royal fellowship. Beneath this stone is buried the roll of honour of those whose memory is perpetuated by this memorial. They will return nevermore, but their glory will abide forever. We have the royal coat of arms up there. And this looks like a Second World War memorial down at the bottom there. Tobruk, Gaza, Iraq, Megiddo, Crete, Singapore, you name it, Normandy, Ruhr. I'm just going to look at this memorial, which, as it turns out, is to Australian forces. And you've got all the big names there, where they went: Berlin, Ruhr, Mediterranean, Gallipoli, Passchendaele, Coral Sea, Rosiers, I don't know, Rosiers, I don't know where that is, Bulcourt, Singapore, Bismarck Sea, Milne Bay, but then you have smaller writing from which the bigger writing is made of, which is all the other places. Glencoe, Stowe, Smeaton, Logie, Jennacobin, Caroline, Olinda, West Kingston. What are they? Are they just places in Australia? I don't think so. Mission Beach, doesn't sound like it, does it? I don't know, Fawcett, Bunya Park, maybe they are, actually. A lot of them sound Australian. Brewerong. Maybe it's the towns where all these Australians came from. Now we have a little thingy here, find your town. awmlondon.gov.au. Australian War Memorial, dedicated in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen. And contingents of the Australian and British veterans, 11th November 2008. This memorial honours the commitment of the Australians who served alongside Britain and her allies in defence of freedom in the First and Second World Wars. The battle sites are representative of the many places where Australians, together with their comrades, fought and died. The place names record the origins of Australian servicemen and women, many of whom were born in the United Kingdom and elsewhere. Each is a reminder of the impact of war on families and communities. The flow of water over these names evokes memories of service, suffering and sacrifice, although the water is not flowing today. So that's what it means. You've got the big battles, but the places where they came from is the little writing. Quite good, really, isn't it? And we've got the Wellington Arch up here, so let's walk across the grass and have a look. think in a way that's a good place to stop. And I'll do another video some other time. Okay then, bye for now.